Welcome back to my channel. This is gonna be a little bit of a wrap-up video for the Horror Bingo Reading Challenge of 2024. So I kind of forgot about this until Sarah from Wicked Reading, I don't know if that's her name, from Wicked Reading, I'll link her channel down below, came out with a new video for the 2025 Horror Reading Challenge, which is another bingo, which I definitely want to participate in. Give me one moment. Queen Doggo, but we're gonna quickly talk about the horror books I've read in the last year. And then I'm going to tell you, first off, there's an easy mode and there's a hard mode. I, at the beginning of this challenge, was like, I'm going to do hard mode. I'm going to attempt hard mode. Yeah, I'm going to let you know. For some of them, I did get hard mode, but for many of them, I did not get hard mode. And we're going to forgive and forget that I didn't get hard mode for every single one of them. But for the ones that I did get, high five. And for the ones that I only got easy mode, high five. You did wonderful, girly. So we're just gonna quickly talk about some of this, and editing Alita is going to love me because she's gonna be the one putting all the pictures up. I might potentially go through, well, I'm definitely going to go through all of them, but I might actually put a couple different choices that we could have at, you know, in picture format. And I'm only going to talk about the one that I ultimately ended up picking, so you could have different choices for each one. And I might do the TBR like that too for 2025's version of the Horror Bingo. Anyways, let's jump in. The first, we're gonna start at the top row right here. Published in 2024, and to get the hard mode you had to read it in 2024, which I did get. I ended up using Your Shadow Half Remains, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. I'm not going to give you a synopsis for all of these. I don't think I'm going to give you a synopsis at all, really. Maybe I'll just give you a couple keywords that I remember. So, apocalyptic, isolation. Sure, let's go with that. Then The End Times Are Near, a book that is considered apocalyptic, and hard mode, it has to include an epilogue. I could not find an apocalyptic book that had an epilogue in the novella. And then I woke up, which was zombie apocalypse, but kind of virus apocalypse. And the speaking of humanity in this book was so good. That's why I gave it a 4-star. It was more enjoyable than I thought it would be. I only read it to read it like Gabby, but I did ultimately end up really liking it. Then this is Halloween. So a book that takes place on Halloween, and hard mode is a book that features trick-or-treating. For that I read All Hallows. I don't remember the author, but it was like an 80s type, almost slasher, but not exactly slasher. And here's the thing, it was really, really boring. There is trick-or-treating in it, so I did get hard mode, but I didn't care. And I've been reading less and less young adult novels, and this features a group of teenagers, so I'm thinking that I just I get bored by YA novels. And then we have Blood on the Cover, a book that features a bloody image on the cover of the edition you are reading. Hard mode. It is very recognizable and more than a couple drops. For that, I had 2 that I could have picked because the cover for The Shining, it's a 3-book bundle, but it has a bucket of blood and it's really pretty. But I think I'm gonna end up going with Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. There's blood all over the bathroom floor in that one. And here's the thing, I read it and initially I said that I didn't like it. I loved the first 70% of that book. I was so happy and I just like sat down and started reading it and like it was really in my heart pumping and I was scared and I wanted to know what was going on. But then the ending like made me enjoy it less. I didn't like the ending at all. I absolutely hated the ending. So I gave it a 3-star, but I've been thinking about that book so much since December when I read it, and I think that that was an injustice to give it 3 stars. So I have since bumped it up to 4 stars on Goodreads, but it's so good. It actually made me scared. Like, you know, when people are like, give me your funniest, worst fear, like something that you're legitimately afraid of, but that's kind of funny. Going to the bathroom has become a new fear of mine, especially in public, but definitely like sitting on the toilet. I'm scared that something's gonna come out of the toilet while I'm sitting on it. For the last one, it's Woods or Wilderness, and hard mode was There Can't Be Trees on the cover. I did not have anything. I mean, I remember making the TBR and I actually had 2 choices, but I haven't read either of those books yet. So instead, I got Easy Mode, and that was The Devil of Black Creek, which was a 3-star book, sorry. 3-star book. It was fine. It was kind of like about Bigfoot, kind of, right? I don't know. There was a monster. I'm not a monster. I'm not a creature feature girly. I don't like them. So I didn't love that book. It was fine, but kind of unmemorable. Then we're working on the second row, which is Haunting the Classics. Honoring the Classics. Woo! I can't read. Hard Mode was a classic written before 1950. My classic was written in 1979. So I did not get Hard Mode, but that's okay. I read Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, and if you say that this is not a horror novel, then where have you been? This is a historical classic horror novel about this woman named Dana, who it's her 26th birthday and she's talking to her husband in her house when she gets pulled to 1718, I think it was sometime in the 1800s, 1825. But they own slaves, and she is a black woman in the South because that's where she got pulled. And she keeps going back in time to this particular person named Rufus. And when she's there, she has to save Rufus. and then she goes back to her time, and then she goes, and so it's definitely sci-fi, it's definitely time travel, and I loved it. But what kept me like hooked was the violence toward not just slaves, but like the relationship between slave owners and slaves, and like it was horrendous. It was terrible. Oh my god, I could not. But this was such a remarkable book. I have found in my search for horror novels that I like that I enjoy reading books, horror novels that take place on plantations, horror novels that discuss humanity in a lot of ways, and this one discusses humanity in the aspect of slavery. And I don't like saying that I enjoy it because it was horrendous. It was terrible. It was terrifying. But I think that that's why people read horror novels. And I know some people are going to say this was a classic. This is not a horror novel. It's sci-fi. You know what? It is all of those things. It is a historical sci-fi horror. It's also a classic. It's wonderful. And I don't even care that I didn't get hard mode on that particular bingo part because it was wonderful. It was like, this is a 6-star book. So if you've never read Kindred, please read it. Please. I just finished it recently. And I really was not going to read this book. I was like, it's a classic. I'm not gonna like. Alita, what were you thinking? This was this was perfection. It was terrifying. It was like slow burn when it needed to be. It was the atmosphere. And that ending. Ooh! I could just talk about this book forever. I'm not going to, but I could. It's translated work. And I had a few options that I was going to use for this, and I didn't read any of the options. So, instead, I did not get hard mode for this. Hard mode was, the book also features a translator note. That was really hard to find. I couldn't find any in my TBR, so instead I read The Laws of the Skies. I gave it 2 stars. I actually think 2 stars was kind of generous. I think it's more of a 1-star book for me. I did not enjoy it. Here's the thing. I'm an educator, and this story follows first graders, like a whole class of first graders that go camping. It's like a school camping trip, and they're chaperones and things like that. But I could not fathom the way these first graders, the pure violence that came from these first graders. And I really thought my heart was going to just be like, oh, I love these kids. Oh, I'm so sad that something happened to them. And I feel like a monster because I never got that attachment from them. I just think this whole book was completely wrong. And I get that kids, like, some horrible things happen to these children. And at the end of the day, they're children. But I did not like it. I did not care. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Cover pick. A book that interests you because of the cover. Hard mode. Base that book completely on the cover with no idea of the synopsis. For that, I'm actually picking a book that ended up being a 5-star pick. And that was Near the Bone by Christina Henry. Oh my gosh, I have only read one other thing by Christina Henry. I read the Peter Pan retelling, and I didn't like it. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to read anything else. I have DNF Ghost Tree. So I guess I've had two books, but one I DNF'd. So I was not excited, but the cover was so cool. And I'm like, I have no idea what this is about. It ended up having monsters. It was about this girl, this woman, that was in her cabin in the middle of nowhere. And these hunters come by and they think it's an abandoned cabin. So they were gonna go inside. But there are things you don't know about this woman. That's a very bad synopsis. Like, really read Near the Bone. But trigger warnings. This might be a little bit of a spoiler. Trigger warnings for, like, abusive husbands and domestic violence. And, monsters. Monsters. We'll go with monsters. Okay. Then Reaper book. I ended up using Reaper Read as my free space because there's not actually free space on here. So if there's one that you're just really not feeling, or whatever, then you can use it as a free space. I used it as a free space because the Reaper prompt is a book where the theme surrounds death or grief. I hate grief horror. I learned that last year, that every time I pick up a grief horror novel, I don't like it. I end up rating it very low and I do not like it. So I'm just not going to read grief horror anymore for the foreseeable future. Just, I don't know. I don't like it. And then we're going to go to the last one right here. Title has a spooky word. And hard mode is the title has 2 or more spooky words. I counted this. Some might say I'm cheating, but I don't care. There's the Whispering Dead. Dead is a spooky word. Whispering can be a spooky word. Depends on how you whisper. If you whisper like this, then that's not spooky. But if you're walking through the forest and you hear someone whispering your name and you can't tell where it's coming from, then that's spooky. I'm counting it. You can fight me. It's a paranormal horror, and I've also learned that I don't think I like paranormal horror. I gave it 2 stars. It was fine, but I know it was definitely a me thing. Everyone loves that series by Darcy Coates. I just, I don't like paranormal I don't like paranormal books, I don't think. But if you have any suggestions for paranormal books that maybe I don't, are kind of outside the box or are a little bit different than the rest, let me know. I might try them. I'm not saying I'm never going to try paranormal books again, but I'm just saying that I don't tend to like them as much. Anyways, we're on the 3rd row, which is Dead Man Walking, a book that features a reanimated corpse or zombies. Hard mode is the book is part of a series. This is not part of a series. It's a standalone. But do know that by me telling you that there are reanimated corpses or zombies, that it could be a huge spoiler, because the whole book you are wondering what is after them. It's an isolated horror novel where this lady goes onto this island to take care of some business, and her friends end up surprising her ex-husband, her husband, whatever. He goes there and then things start happening to this group of friends, and it was creepy, and the sense of dread was so good because you don't know what the book is. So I'm actually not going to put the picture up here, so that way you just have to listen right now. I'm not going to show it because I don't want to spoil it for those of you that are interested in that book. I mean, but now I'm kind of giving it away. I'm not going to show it though, but it's I gave it 3 stars. It was fine. I was loving this book until the big reveal was that it's like kind of like a zombie-ish creature. I was wanting something else, and it was giving so good. Like the atmosphere, the dread was so good until you figure out what's actually going on, and then I felt let down. That happens a lot with my horror novels. Okay, then genre bending, a book that combines horror with another genre. And hard mode is one of the genres, is one you do not typically read. So for this I picked a horror fantasy. It's also middle grade, which is something that I don't read. But that was Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Here's the thing, I like Coraline. I've read the chapter book. This was the graphic novel edition, and eventually I would really like to watch the movie, kind of compare them, but I haven't watched the movie yet. The graphic novel was fine. I definitely prefer the chapter book that Neil Gaiman wrote better, but I gave it 5 stars. I think I still enjoyed it. Oh, no, I didn't. I gave it 3 stars. Like, the art style was really good. It just didn't bring anything new to Coraline the story, in my humble opinion. So, I don't think we needed the graphic novel, but it was fine. Okay. Then a 5-star read. A book you gave 5 stars, but hard mode is you predicted it would be a 5-star read. For that, I'm picking The Butcher Game by Elena Arquette. This is actually the second in the Butcher and the Rin series. And because I liked The Butcher and the Rin so much, I thought that The Butcher Game would be a 5-star. I was correct. They are both 5 stars, but The Butcher, I'm not going to tell you about The Butcher Game because it's the second in the series. The Butcher and the Rin. Whew. I mean, look at that cover, first off. But you follow the Butcher and you follow the Rin. So the Rin is a medical examiner who has been following this serial killer known as the Butcher and his crimes, and she's the one that's kind of doing the autopsies of his bodies and connecting them to him. But we don't know who the Butcher is right away. And so it's like this cat and mouse type of read. And here's the thing, I hate detective novels. This does not read like a detective novel, and the secrets and the lies in this book were so good. They were both 5-star books. Highly recommend that series. Okay. Then BIPOC author, a book written by a BIPOC author. Hard mode, the book is by an author that is new to you. Lost in the Fire by Mariana Zapata. This is by a BIPOC author that is new to me. So that is hard mode. Then we have Cryptic. A book that features a cryptid creature. Mothman, Bigfoot, unicorn, dog woman. Hard mode. The creature is one that you did not know about or didn't know the lore of before. For hard mode, I picked Night Bitch by Rachel Yonder, and I gave it 5 stars. I was not going to read this book, but then I saw the movie, And the movie was interesting. It was weird. Kind of like Get Out vibes. It was weird. It was great. So then I had to read the book, and I ended up really loving the book. I gave it 5 stars. It's about this mother. It's kind of like, I don't think it's for everyone, because some people are going to say it's too slow, it's too literary, but I enjoyed it a lot. It follows this woman who's losing her identity to being a mother, and eventually she starts like actually turning into the night bitch, like the dog. She gets a tail, and she starts growing hair everywhere, like fur. And yeah, it was weird, it was wild, but it was great. I loved it. Okay, our 4th row is title has a number. So a book where their title features a number. Hard mode, title includes more than one number or has a number plus a quantitative word. This one I cheated because this is more of a thriller, but there were horror aspects in it, so I'm counting it. I'm stretching it a little, but that's One by One by Frida McFadden, which I actually really enjoyed. I was not expecting to like it, but it was like this camping trip that everything goes wrong, and it was really fun. I gave it 5 stars. Satanic Panic, a book that features elements of the occult. Hard mode is a physical item is used in the book that fall under occult category, like tarot cards, a Ouija board, things like that. I don't think this actually had a pick. There's no hard mode, so I read We Used to Live Here by Marcus Zuzacker, this author. I gave it 4 stars. It was fine. It's like a literary horror novel about this haunted house that all these weird things happen, and this guy and his family go to the door, and he's like, I know this can sound weird, but we used to live here. Can we come walk through? And for some odd reason, they are like, yeah, come on in. I don't know. I wouldn't let strangers in my house, but whatever. Pink Court, a book that has themes of girlhood or womanhood. Hard mode is the book is a debut. And I actually did hard mode. I read Mary by Nat Cassidy, and I did not like it, but it was about an older woman just getting older and going through, like biology of an older woman. It was kind of boring. I give it 3 stars. It was fine. Multiple POV is a book that has more than one point of view. Hard mode is there's also dual or multiple timelines. Another thriller that has horror elements was Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. This is my least favorite Stacey Willingham with only 3 stars, but it was fine, I guess. And the last row is As Seen on the Big Screen, a book that has a film or show adaptation. Hard mode is you haven't seen the film or TV show, and for that I picked Foe, which was actually a 5-star read for me that I would love to see the film adaptation. See, it says soon to be a major motion picture. It was haunting, and it was very much like slow burn, and not a lot happens, but the ending was so twisted and so good that I would like to see that on the big screen, but I still have yet to see it. out of your comfort zone. A horror book that is a subgenre you don't typically read. Hard Mode you have read from the author before. I read Instance Around the House. I kind of cheated on this one a little bit because I don't like horror novels that come from the child's perspective. I don't like the creepy child trope. And this one wasn't exactly a creepy child, but it came from the child's perspective. And I don't like that in horror novels, so instead of a subgenre, I just picked a trope that I don't like. And it was by Josh Malerman, and I've read quite a bit of Josh Malerman's backlist. I didn't end up liking Instance Around the House. I gave it 2 stars. It's because creepy kid follows from a kid's perspective. Don't like it. Short story collection. So technically, it was supposed to be Things We Lost in the Fire by Mariana Zapata. Not Mariana Zapata, Mariana Enriquez. But I had to use that for a different one. So I don't actually have one for short story collection. I don't really like short story collections. Specifically horror short story collections. They're not my thing. Then TBR Vet, a book that has been on your TBR for a long time. Hard Mode is 2. You've had it on your TBR for more than 2 years. So for that, I read The Shining by Stephen King. And it was fine. The book is definitely better than the movie. I still only gave it 3 stars. But it was fine. I don't really tend to love Stephen King books, so I should just stop kidding myself, but am I going to? That's a good question. And the last one is Creepy Crawlies, a book that features creepy crawlies. Hard Mode, there's also imagery of them on the cover. So, for that I picked The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson. I am not afraid of butterflies, but I know that some people are. So I'm counting it as a creepy crawly because some people are afraid of butterflies and they're creepy and crawly on flyy. So maybe I stretched that one too. But I don't feel like I did too terrible on this year's prompts. Next year I really want to get, or I guess this year. That was last year's. This is this year. It starts in October 1st. So my next video will most likely be going through the prompts and possibly picking out a couple of books. But I do like the freedom of not sticking to my TBR. Especially for this year-long challenge. Like, because if I am like, oh, this is the book that I'm gonna pick, then it doesn't give me any wiggle room. And I like to have wiggle room in my reading. But I think I did fairly well with this. What do you guys think? Let me know if you participated and what books you used, or if you have any recommendations for any like horror novels. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!